Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because...
Now, remember, when Fox News aired this, they just did the yeah. They didn't add. They cut this part out, just as a reminder. Fox News just gave the yeah, and then they cut it out.
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know it. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
All right. I'm going to get into this. I wasn't going to, but I'm going to anyways because I do feel like sometimes I just want to do like real stuff and I don't want to get involved in the dumb shit. But for whatever reason, these Epstein files just aren't getting released. I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of things that are being said, but a lot of people voted for Trump because of these Epstein files. And now they're being slow-walked. We don't know why. This is a reminder from the Midas Touch that we do have flight logs. We also have call logs. As you can, it's hard to see here, but yeah, Trump is on the flight logs. I want to say 7 times. There it is. There's Donald Trump right there, with Marla, Tiffany, Nanny. There's Donald Trump there. These are hard to see. There's Donald Trump there without Marla. Tiffany. There it is again. Not Marla. All these, I don't know who these people are. These are all initials. I'm sure somebody's gone through them and figured them out. But Trump's all over those flight logs. And Trump, we know, has been like, oh yeah, well I'll release it probably. It's important to remember that not only was this mysterious death of Epstein, not only did it happen while under federal care, or custody, but also federal custody of Donald Trump's administration. And the raid of Epstein's house happened under Donald Trump's administration. And now this slow walking of documents that they promised to release is happening under Donald Trump's administration. It's odd how many of these things are happening under Donald Trump's administration while he's listed on these lists. Like you can criticize Biden, like why didn't Biden release it? I don't know. I have no idea why Biden didn't release it. Is he on the list? Is he on some sort of list? Maybe. But Trump for sure is on the list. Trump is on multiple lists, and he hasn't released it. And I'm getting tired of why did Republicans get to own this Epstein thing? Like, why did they just co-opt it? It's far more likely that it's their people. By the way, Elon Musk is involved with Epstein. And speaking, if we're going to do like the same shit that Republicans did when they combed through Hillary's emails and they looked for code words like pizza really means child or whatever it might be, maybe we ought to do the same thing. Ron Filipkowski tweeted, and I don't have the link, but I wrote it down, said, I love the fact that the Trump administration is now responsible for covering up all the conspiracies. Epstein, JFK, the January 6th pipe bomber, Ray Epps, chemtrails, weapons, biolabs, ghost buses, Patriot Front as FBI, a whole host of false flags, manifestos. Trump is hiding all of it. All of it. He's been, people keep talking about, why isn't the FBI telling us things? It's like, well, Trump was the president, and then, it was a corrupt FBI. All right, well, now we've got a non-corrupt FBI, right? We got 2 podcasters that are running the FBI, which is terrific. Fucking absolutely terrific. We got the podcasters on the case. And they said day one, we're going to do it. And Pam Bondi was like, where's that list? And now they're all there, and it's just slow walking. Why? Why do you think it's being slow walked if there's any Republicans here? I just want to know. Just want to know why the guy on the list is allowed to slow walk this shit. And you guys have given up on anything, any sort of transparency a long time ago. I get that. You can say that. We're with you. We understand what you're saying. This was a whistleblower that came out on Benny Johnson's show. Now, look, I have two theories. Let's call them theories. And let's call both of them conspiracy theories. My first one is that Benny Johnson, who we have here in this terrific black shirt and his glasses and his great hair, Benny Johnson, we know, is a paid asset. I still can't figure out why anybody watches his show. It's clearly scripted. It's clearly paid for. It's clearly paid for by people who historically have been adversaries to the United States, specifically Russia. This is a paid, known asset. He is pay for play all day long. He's deep MAGA. This is I forget this guy's name. Shit, I forgot to write down his name. He is he's whistleblowing. That's what he's doing now. I want you to hear what he has to say.
No idea on what it is. I can only speculate, but you mentioned the Epstein list. I'd imagine it's cases like that. It's intel cases that are very siloed, very secretive. And I'm sure there's probably even information regarding the FBI's own subversive measures against Americans, against American politicians, for instance. We learned over the last few days that the Oval Office was bugged. And they took out the Resolute desk to inspect it more. Who's doing that type of thing, Benny? It's going to be, if they're operating at all as they should be, it's going to be the FBI because they're the domestic agency. Now, is it beyond the CIA or NSA playing a role? No, not at all. Because I think all of these agencies at this point do not have the best interest of the American public in mind. That's something that
Here's what's so goddamn dumb about this whole thing. There is no upside for the FBI, for the CIA to be hiding these documents. The only people who don't want these documents to come out are people on the Epstein list, right? If there is a list. People who ran around with Epstein. Who in our government has been running around with Epstein? You had the Clintons. Okay, you had Bill Clinton. He was president a long time ago. But then if you want to say, okay, well, Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State and, she had a lot of power, she had a lot of pull, and then she was the nominee for the DNC. Okay, fine. We can play your stupid game. That's fine. But now who? There's only two people that I'm aware of in Washington with direct connections to Jeffrey Epstein, and it's Elon Musk and it's Donald Trump. Those are the only two that I'm aware of. Are there other ones I'm missing, folks? Is anybody am I missing some? I really want to get this right because if we're going to go into conspiracy theories, I want to get all the players. As far as I know, it's Jeffrey Epstein or Donald Trump and Elon Musk. That's the connection. Epstein dies in federal custody when Trump is running the Department of Justice. The raid on his house happens by the FBI under Donald Trump. Do we know what documents were taken? Are we sure? Are we sure no documents were destroyed? And why did all these conspiracy theorists say we're coming in and we're going to get rid of we're going to show you the Epstein list, and no Epstein list so far? What are they going to say if it comes out redacted? What are they going to say after Pam Bondi releases it and it is heavily, heavily redacted? Then what are they going to say? What would they say if it was Joe Biden? What would they say if it was Kamala Harris? They're just protecting their friends. But when it's the guy that's on the list who has his loyalists putting out the information, yeah, well, national security, you can't tell everything with these documents. So we demand the truth. Well, unless you don't want to tell us the truth, in which case we don't demand anything. By the way, if he never puts it out, none of these Republicans are going to give a shit. They're not. It's all a grift. It's all a campaign. They found out that they could make money off of talking about Jeffrey Epstein. That's what happened. When we clip this, and I think this is probably a segment we'll clip out, it'll probably do well because I said Jeffrey Epstein. Because people understand that if you talk about things like this, it gets clicks. And they adopted this and they made it their own. And I think it's time that we adopt it. I think it's time that we consistently point out that Jeffrey Epstein was a bad person. And Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer, who was also caught up in this, is the same lawyer that every time Donald Trump gets in trouble, he goes on TV and he defends Donald Trump. Why is that? That lawyer, by the way, would have seen the testimony from Kate. It's Kate, right? The young girl. I forget her last name. Pretty sure it's Kate. Somebody can help me with that. The young girl that accused Donald Trump of rape. He knows about that. All the people involved are like Trump's friends. Everybody that was involved that we know of, they're just friends with Trump. Every last one of them, with the exception of Bill Gates, who you ever hear Trump talk bad about Bill Gates? I don't. Bill Gates gives him money sometimes. Katie Johnson, thank you. I'm just saying, how does this conspiracy theory work? If we're playing fucking conspiracy theories, how does it work that all the bad guys are on your side and you're like, we're going to uncover this, and Republicans are like, yeah, this makes sense. Yeah, because it's probably Obama, right? Because we've already been told it's Obama and it's the Clintons and it's Joe Biden. So yeah, we're gonna go with it. Yeah, I recognize that all you guys are on the logs, but we're gonna go with this. Gaslighting, yeah, yes, lighting. I like that. Okay, that's the guy I played. That was 5, 6. There's a guy I really like on Twitter. We're trying to get the marketing team to reach out if we can get Jim Stewartson on. He's hyperbolic. I'll say that. I think that he would be the equivalent of, who would he be? He might be like our Tucker Carlson equivalent. Like, he's willing to take some risks on stuff I don't think that he always has facts on, but he's highly well researched. Highly well? Can you say that? He's well researched. I don't think you can say highly well researched. Mike Flynn tweeted out, as this was happening, to those destroying the records, you will be held responsible for every page of evidence you destroy. We, the people, want 1 year in prison per page. I suggest you stop destroying the evidence. This is bullshit. This is posturing. Mike Flynn, as Jim Stewartson points out, has been covering up Epstein and Donald Trump's crimes against children for a decade. If we're gonna play this game, this is the best possible confirmation that Mike Flynn's friends, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, I always say Bongino, but I think it's Bongino, who are now running the FBI, intend to destroy the evidence forever. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I just say it because I think it would make him mad. So just so we're clear on that, I think that would make him mad. I think that's what's happening, and I think that what they're doing here by trotting out this whistleblower is they are running interference now, and they're saying that these people who are deleting evidence, they did it before Kash Patel was confirmed. They were hurrying and getting it done before Trump took office. Like they just did it now, right? They didn't do it for the 4 years that Biden was in office. They're like, we'll just keep this information sitting around. You know, Biden's a shoo-in. If they needed to delete this information beforehand, they would have gotten rid of it. Why would they wait until Trump is in office to start deleting these records? Someone make some sense out of that, please. Oh, I could make some sense out of it. It's because your guy is on their side, and you got to figure out a way to not admit it. So now they're making up like fake whistleblowers. That's what's going on, in case anybody's wondering. They're making up fake whistleblowers who are going, and they do this. This game has been played a million fucking times, and I don't know why Republicans keep falling for it. How many FBI whistleblowers did they trot out there during the Biden administration? There were four. There were four that they trotted before Congress. And they couldn't confirm any of the stories. They were not able to verify any of their stories. They could not corroborate any of their stories on whistleblowing. And then it turns out that all four of them got paid. And who paid them? Kash Patel. Kash Patel, our current FBI director, paid whistleblowers to testify before Congress and tell stories that they never were able to corroborate, ever. In fact, all of them had been fired for cause for things that everybody agrees should happen. Have those FBI agents been reinstated? No, they certainly haven't. They were not vindicated. Now, Trump might bring them on at some point. If this story were to get out and this became like a national news story again, and they're like, just a reminder, Kash Patel paid these 4 informants, Trump would just go rehire them, and then MAGA would be like, oh, see? They were good all along. It's just you guys didn't listen. But now Trump's saying that they were legitimate whistleblowers, and then they'll just believe it. The fake whistleblower thing has been done so many times. James O'Keefe, Project Veritas, he has been caught faking interviews like 20 times. And every time he breaks a story, MAGA runs with it. Every time. It doesn't matter. They do not care that he has been caught lying virtually every single time. He's just making shit up. He gets caught, and it doesn't matter. I understand why the MAGA leaders do it. I understand why Trump does this. I understand why Steve Bannon does it. I understand why MAGA legislators do it. I don't understand why MAGA voters keep buying it. It's like you're going to buy a mystery box, right? I used to when I sold sports cards, I used to watch these videos all the time, and of people going to card shows and buying cards. Eventually, like shoes came in and people were selling sneakers, and then it's kind of merged. And now there's a guy that I don't follow him. I don't know his name. I should, but he sits at a table and people bring him a mystery bag, and they say $5,000 or $0. We're going to flip a coin on it, and he has to decide if he wants to spend $5,000 or $0. But he's going to get the mystery package either way. And they do this coin flip. This is the equivalent. Like the Republican equivalent of this is somebody walking up to you every single day and being like, here's a mystery package. It's either $500 or it's $0, and you flip for it. And no matter, sometimes you pay the $500, sometimes you get the mystery bag. But you've done it 60 times now, and 60 of the 60 times the bag has been empty, and you still show up to play the game every day. There's just never been anything in the bag. Worst case scenario, you pay nothing. Or best case, I guess. Worst case, you pay $500, but you get nothing every fucking time. And that's what Republicans get. Nothing every fucking time out of these whistleblowers. The amount of, I was talking to my friends yesterday, my Republican friends, because they still have hope that like what Elon's doing is good, but like that's cracked. And I think that's where a lot of Republicans are right now. They hope that Elon is going to like finally come through, but they recognize so far he hasn't come through on any of this. And I was thinking about it, like, just because it's my friends and they're men, and they're just like me. Like me saying something, they're not going to believe it. They're my best friends. They're not just going to believe me for saying something. So I do have to make sure when I make claims to them that I have stuff to back it up. But I was thinking about how difficult it is to convince them that Elon Musk and these Republicans are doing a coup. And I get it. They don't want it to. Intrinsically, they don't want it to be a coup. And so until they absolutely have to face the facts that it is a coup, they're going to hold out hope. But I was thinking, just long term, I thought, I mean, if we go down this route, what do you think happens? Let's say we figure out it's a coup. Let's say we find out that there's dirt on Donald Trump. Let's play it out. Let's say we find out that Russia has dirt on Donald Trump. They release it to the world. We know it's Russia. And they come out and they say, Donald Trump's been doing what we want him to do for 30 years. I don't think Tex changes his vote. I don't think Drew changes his vote. What would it actually change? That's the thing that we're figuring out right now is like telling the truth doesn't fucking matter in America anymore. Do you know what? Let's just say COVID-20 comes out, right? COVID-20. And it's just obliterating people. It's 10 times stronger than COVID-19. Millions will die. The next time we get hit by if we get hit by a pandemic within the next 30 years, millions will die. If we had COVID again, we would double the deaths. Because we have people now who just, no matter what, they do not believe science. They don't believe doctors. They don't believe any. And going back on it, like, why? This is what's crazy about Republicans all the time. COVID comes out. Who do Republicans say they hate? Oh, you trust Big Pharma? No. Nope. No. No, none of us trusted Big Pharma during COVID. We trusted scientists. And we trusted Fauci. And Fauci got, I wouldn't even say, Fauci, I've never had anybody show me that Fauci lied about anything, ever. There's been things he got wrong, which happens. Like, that's science. That's how science works. If you're making guesses on your best available data, you're going to get things wrong. Fauci didn't benefit. He didn't benefit at all. There's only one group of people who benefited from the Joe Rogan Experience crowd who turned anti-vax. The only group that benefited from the anti-vaxxers is Big Pharma, because now they got that anti-vax crowd and they got to sell you a bunch of shit. And supplement makers like colloidal silver did well. Supplement makers skyrocketed. Big Pharma skyrocketed. And then they look at us like, oh, you trust Big Pharma? No, none of us do. In fact, we're the ones that didn't trust Big Pharma. We were the ones that were like, I don't know about this. Johnson & Johnson came out, which was not mRNA, and then they said, like, the efficacy of it is not what we'd expected. There are some side effects. Pull it. And we're like, great. Thank you, science. Thank you, science, for correcting, when you got new data, for correcting course. Thanks, science. And Republicans go, conspiracy. See? I told you. It's like, no, that's how science works. We are so cooked. It doesn't matter what happens with Donald Trump. It doesn't. Until he dies, these people are going to be with him. There's nothing he could do. In fact, I think there is a significant portion of the people that if it turned out that Trump was with Epstein and that he was at the island and that there were multiple accusations of him doing things, and they tested the clothing that he didn't want to get tested, where there was a stain, and they found that Katie Johnson's story was corroborated. I think there's a significant amount of people in MAGA that would go, that was the old Trump, but now he found Jesus. I don't think they would abandon him then. We're seeing the cracks and we have to take advantage of the cracks. But like, the damage that Donald Trump has done to this country is so much more than like winning elections or putting in the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, or even like his approach to Ukraine and Israel and Palestine. Now, those people have suffered, absolutely. But the lasting effects on America are not going to be undone for a very, very long time. Like, people are going to die. We're going to have measles. We already have measles in Texas. Previously eradicated diseases are going to come back. We're going to have people fighting consistently against any measure that we put in place to combat climate change. And the crazy thing is that it could all be fixed overnight if Trump just went, you know what, guys? I take it all back. I'm not doing the bidding for big oil anymore. I'm not doing the bidding for the billionaires anymore. I'm going to raise taxes on billionaires, including myself. I'm going to raise taxes on the oil barons. We're going to pay for education. Everybody's going to have health care. You're going to have better education. You're going to have better health care. And these people are going to pay their share. Oh, and by the way, they don't get to lobby the government anymore. They no more lobbying. Every one of those bills would pass overnight. Every Republican would change their tune. They would support those bills overnight. And they all know it's the right thing to do. This is like, he's the one guy ever that could legitimately change things. He's more powerful than Obama. He's more powerful than Biden. He's more powerful than Bush. He's more powerful than Clinton. He's the most powerful president of our lifetimes. And he uses it for never to do good. He never uses his incredible power to do good. He just uses it to cut taxes for his billionaire friends and make a bunch of money. Did I hear you, Jen?
Yep.
Hey.
Yes, you did. Yeah. I mean, he's like a really, really bad cartoon villain. Like,
well, yeah.
say all of his evil plans out loud, like muttering as his desk.
He's such a fucking egomaniac that if he takes a position that's wrong, and then you correct him on that position, he'll just double down on the wrong position because he won't admit that he's wrong. That's what's crazy about it. Like, you almost can't battle him with information, because the more information you get, the more he's going to attack the institutions. All right, back to Jeffrey Epstein. Thank you, Jen. Appreciate it. And thank you guys for all the gifted subs. Mystic Mimic also gifted some subs. I don't know sorry if I missed anybody else who was gifting subs. It was a flurry. Monstrous, thank you for gifting subs. That might have been yesterday. That was yesterday. Great. All right, so back to Jim Stewartson. He says the full Russo, is that how you say that? Russo-American Ministry of Propaganda is pushing the narrative that evidence is being suppressed of the Jeffrey Epstein crimes. This is an active cover-up in progress. Here is Michael Schellenberger, who is just like now the person, like he keeps getting all the scoops of the whistleblowers too. And he doesn't verify. He never winds up verifying any of them. Michael Schellenberger is either just a useful idiot. I think that's the guy. I'm pretty sure this is the guy. He got the whistleblower. I want to say he was one of the ones that got the scoop on not the Vegas guy, the New Orleans terrorist. He says FBI whistleblower Geo Baxual. Okay, so that's who that guy is. We got to figure out who that is. I'll go after. Confirmed to me that a source inside FBI employees were destroying evidence on servers and that he informed Kash Patel. I hope he and Pam Bondi, John Ratcliffe, Elon Musk, real Anna Paulina are preventing this. We urgently need disclose. Anna Paulina said there's a massive war happening in the intelligence agencies right now. The corruption being exposed right now is actual treason. Is it though? Is it? Because like so far you're not telling us anything. And it sounds an awful lot like you're being used to say that there's a war going on so that they can explain why they are missing evidence. This reminds me, I hate to get back into this, but like we had a debate and there was somebody on our side that was talking about like deleting the archives. And so that like when you went to court, you would no longer have precedent because the archives have been deleted, which didn't make a lot of sense to me because like we have copies of the archives like every law school does. It reminds me of that. But just setting up this thing that like can't happen. Are you telling me we don't have digital archives? That those digital archives also like that they're going in and they're removing the digital archive and then they're wiping it clean without a trace and just like one guy's whistleblowing. And they all started doing this once Trump was confirmed or once Trump won. That's when they started doing it. This story doesn't make any fucking sense because it's not real, because they're lying, because they're covering up something. I don't know what it is, but they're covering up something. Otherwise, just release it. If you have nothing to hide, release it. What are we covering up? The only other thing I think like you could maybe make an argument for why they're covering it up. There are rumors that Epstein was a CIA operative, and that's why he got away with so many things. There's rumors that he was an operative with Assad, which would make sense. So we got some other Assad operatives in the administration right now, so that would make sense. This is a email, and sorry it looks shitty. This is an email from Elon Musk to Jeffrey Epstein in 2016. Where Jeffrey Epstein had said, Elon, were you able to meet up with Ghislaine at Kung Fu practice on Saturday? What? I did. Thank you. I've got questions about this. One, Kung Fu practice. I have a question about Kung Fu practice. Two, what did you need to meet up with Ghislaine at Kung Fu practice about? And three, why did this warrant an email? Why are you emailing about this? That's weird, right? A very weird thing. By the way, Elon writing back at midnight is, I like that. I like the next day at midnight.
Met Epstein.
Here's Peter Thiel talking about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
Met Epstein a few times as well, and I think
how'd you get introduced?
It was Reid Hoffman in Silicon Valley introduced us.
As the owner of LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman.
In 2014, but it
by the way, in 2014, didn't we already know? Wait, when were all the allegations with Epstein? And when was his first court case? Let's look here. How's this timeline shaking out? Banking. Geez, it's fucking crazy. If you go to Epstein on Wikipedia, there is so much about like his business. Okay, so yeah, in 2005. A woman contacted Florida's Palm Beach Police Department and alleged that her 14-year-old stepdaughter had been taken to Epstein's mansion by an older girl. While there, she was allegedly paid $300 to strip and massage Epstein. During the investigation, Palm Beach Police Chief Michael Ryder publicly accused the Palm Beach County State Prosecutor Barry Kersher of being too lenient and called for help from the FBI. The FBI then became involved. The police alleged that Epstein had paid several girls to perform acts with him, interviews with trigger warning, I should have said that, with 5 alleged victims and 17 witnesses under oath. 5 victims, 17 witnesses under oath. This is in 2005, and the case went to 2011. When the police searched Epstein's home, they found 2 hidden cameras, a large number of photos of girls throughout the house, some of whom the police had interviewed in the course of their investigation. Adriana Ross, former model from Poland, who became an Epstein assistant, reportedly removed computer drives and other electronic equipment from the financier's Florida mansion before the police searched the home. Okay, so this, now we're talking 2014, in Reid Hoffman and Peter Thiel, 2 massive backers of Donald Trump, are hanging out with Trump's buddy, Jeff Epstein, who Jeffrey Epstein said they were best friends for 10 years. After these, there was a non-prosecution agreement in 2006 called Operation Leap Year. It resulted in a 53-page indictment by Alexander Acosta, who I believe he was the Secretary of Labor. Trump, there we go. Trump made him the Secretary of Labor. He agreed to a plea deal that was negotiated by Alan Dershowitz, who was also accused of abusing children. Alan Dershowitz, of course, is like Trump's #1 defender on everything. Then conviction and sentencing. Epstein pleads guilty to a state charge of procuring for prostitution a girl below the age of 18. Gets 18 months in prison. It's 2011. Okay, so Elon is emailing him in 2016. Peter Thiel's meeting him in 2014. They know he's that he's a sexual abuser. They know he's abused children at this point. They don't care. Why? Why don't these people care? You know, you can say whatever you want about Bill Clinton. You can say whatever you want about maybe Bill Clinton did all that shit. Maybe Bill Clinton did fly on the plane with Jeffrey Epstein. Maybe Bill Clinton did all this shit. But I can tell you this: once it was publicly known that Epstein was no good, we didn't see Clinton with him anymore. But what are all these oligarchs, Trump's oligarch buddies, doing with Epstein?
It was basically, and I didn't check, didn't ask enough questions about it. But I
didn't ask enough details about this sex offender that we were hanging out with, and this child sex offender. I should have asked more details. That's what I should have done. I have a friend who got who's a soccer coach. He got caught having relationships with his players. Nobody that I know just like kept hanging around him. Nobody I know did that. Everybody's like, sorry, man, that's enough. Go enjoy your time in prison. We're not none of us. But these guys, I should ask more questions. What more did you need to know? Out of curiosity. What more did you need to know about a person who had a bunch of charges, but still pled guilty to paying an underage girl?
I think there were sort of a lot of things where it was fraudulent. I do think Epstein knew a lot about taxes, and and there were probably these complicated ways you could structure a nonprofit organization, especially as a way in a marital context that I think Epstein might have known a decent amount about.
How, when you were introduced to him?
I don't think Epstein would have been able to, comment on superstring theory or something like that.
Yeah, right. But what about abusing children? Could he comment on that? Could you have asked him about that? Could you have stepped away? Why are these guys so cool? Like, and why is Joe Rogan sitting there being like, "Oh yeah, you were friends with Epstein in 2014? Oh, yeah, you're just hanging out with him? Well, he did understand taxes." Okay. I doubt he's the only person. I think you could find somebody who understands taxes who isn't also a danger to children.
Right. But I think this sort of thing he might have actually been pretty expert on.
When you were introduced to him, how was he described to you?
He was described as one of the smartest tax people in the world.
Interesting.
And
interesting, right? Interesting. Joe Rogan's trying to get Peter Thiel out here, but like, where's the other out? Where's Reid Hoffman? Where's the out for Reid Hoffman?
I probably was my moral weakness that I.
Well, how could you have known back then? He had never been arrested.
And this was
Whoopsies. He'd been to prison. He was out of prison.
This was 2014. It was post arrest.
Oh, so his arrest was the first arrest, right?
Yeah,
which was like
2007, 08.
Okay. And so,
but you assume he didn't.
This is why like we can't take Rogan seriously. What a pussy. If this was anybody else, or if Joe Rogan was just if Joe Rogan was watching this video of Peter Thiel and it wasn't Peter Thiel, it wasn't one of his buddies, he would be doing exactly what I'm doing. He would be ripping the host, him, being like, "You're not going to push back on that? You're not going to push back on the date right there? Because you just gave him an out. You were like, yeah, but you didn't know. No, I knew. Oh, did you just move on?" He tried to say like, "Oh, Peter, you didn't know." And Peter's like, no, I knew. And push through, Joe. Just push on through.
Go to jail for that long. It was probably not as serious as alleged. There was certainly the illusion that there were all these other people that I trusted. Reid, who introduced us, was he started LinkedIn. He was maybe too focused on business networking, but I thought he always had good judgment in people.
When the shit went down and Epstein gets arrested for the second time, were you like, oh, well, there you go?
I've thought about it.
That pause. Yes. The answer was yes there, Peter Thiel. Well, you know. Oh, shit. I had one more on that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I've thought about it. I'm not sure what to make of it still. You know, he did know a lot about taxes.
I know you talked earlier.
I
about I don't want to be.
I can't remember what this one is. I think this was Trump. Let me see.
I know you talked earlier about I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. So if you were president, would you declassify? You can answer yes or no to these.
Yeah.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you?
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because
Now, remember, when Fox News aired this, they just did the yeah. They didn't add. They cut this part out, just as a reminder. Fox News just gave the yeah, and then they cut it out.
yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because you don't know it. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
Makes a little more sense, right? That makes more sense. Look at the actions. That's all I'm asking Republicans to do is just look at the fucking actions. Just look at what's happening. Ask yourself, why did Fox News edit this? Why did they edit this part out? Because they know how damning it looks, and they don't want to believe it either. And Tex, you don't want to believe it either. Drew, you don't want to believe it either, and that's fine. You don't have to believe it, but for you to pretend that this isn't operating exactly like a cult at this point is crazy. You have Donald Trump, best friends with Epstein for 10 years, a bunch of Epstein's friends in the cabinet, people who were emailing back and forth, who were friendly, who were meeting up with Ghislaine for whatever reason, and I'm never going to stop saying her name like that. It is Ghislaine. I just want you guys to be consistent on one thing, like, ever. Could this be the one that you be consistent on, please?
But I think I would.
If Trump was on there, Biden would have released it? No. Tex, this is the problem. This is what you don't understand, is that all that exists is names and not crimes. And so everybody that's on that list, Trump's right here. Trump's saying everybody that winds up on that list is going to be smeared because they're just friends with Epstein. The truth is there's not really much to release. Unless they have videos, which they've claimed. Unless there's videos that they're going to release, there's really nothing to release. If you release the flight logs, which we've mostly already seen, if you release the call logs, which we've mostly already seen, you're going to do what you guys did. When you guys poured through those flight logs and you brought up Hillary Clinton, and I think you put Bill Gates on there too, and you linked a bunch of liberals who were friends with him, and then you left out Donald Trump, as if Donald Trump wasn't on those logs more than anybody else. Like if he wasn't like the person who was on the logs the most, just the individual that was on it the most. And you guys completely ignored that. The truth is, like, this isn't what you think it is. It never has been what you think it is, but you guys have been running on it for 8 years. You've been pretending that it was something big. And now that it's time to be released and you guys have already decided everybody's on that list. I mean, how many people have said everybody on the Epstein client list should be brought before a court and be tried? They should have public hearings. That's what you guys have been saying forever. But now Trump's on that list. So now what do you do? What do you do when your guy's on the list? Biden. That's what you do. Clinton. That's what you do. You're running from it. Why is it so hard to believe? Why is it so hard to believe that a bunch of weirdos, like a bunch of just mutant billionaires, abused children? They can't string together sentences. Why is it so hard to believe that billionaires, who are the most strange humans on our planet, who are so far removed from reality that like they don't know what we deal with every single day? Why is it so hard to believe that those are the bad guys? But no, career bureaucrats and people in Congress, those are the real bad guys. Why is it so hard to believe that rich people are corrupt? Watch any movie, just any of them. Just watch any movie. Who are the shitty people in every movie? Rich people. Why are rich people shitty in every movie? Because in real life, rich people are shitty. The richest among us are the shittiest among us. They have all this wealth and they don't want to help anybody else. They just want it for themselves. They want yachts. They want planes. They want more businesses. They want to dick measure their net worth. The worst people among us, historically speaking, throughout the history of the world, the worst people are the rich, always. And you guys, no, it can't be our rich ones. It's got to be your rich ones. Our rich ones are the good guys. And then their names show up all over on Epstein's documents.
Would, or at least
Do you think that would restore trust? Help restore trust?
Yeah, I don't know about Epstein so much as I do the others. Certainly about the way he died. It would be interesting to find
Sure.
out what happened there, because that was a weird situation.
Why didn't you do that then? See, he died under your watch, so how come you didn't just, at the time, conduct an investigation? At the time, why didn't you put it out there? You didn't want to? And now what? Now you can do it now? Doubt it. It's going to be redacted. What are you guys going to think when Epstein, let's just say that somebody is responsible for Epstein's death. Let's just say it's not him. Which, by the way, I think it's entirely, I think the most likely story, if we're doing Occam's razor, I think the most likely story is that Epstein did it himself. And maybe he was pressured. Maybe he was told that he had to. But I think that's the most likely scenario. And who would have incentive that also had power to tell Epstein, do it? Assad, especially if you have a compromise. Russia, potentially. Your rich friends. Think about it. Think about who had the ability to get that message to Jeffrey Epstein, who might have a reason for Jeffrey Epstein to stay quiet or not go through court. Because when Jeffrey Epstein doesn't have to go to court, you no longer have the testimony. Who's incentivized to have Jeffrey Epstein gone? Trump, Dershowitz, Assad, Elon, Putin, Prince Andrew, all these powerful rich people, right? Clinton, fine. Bill Clinton, let's throw him on the list. Let's throw Bill Clinton on the list. And we can't get you to buy into it. We can't get you to think like, oh, maybe this billionaire who was buddies with him isn't on the up and up.
Situation, and the cameras didn't happen to be working, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I'd go a long way toward that one. The other stuff I would.
I know you talked earlier about.
All right. Anyways, I think that's what I had on. I do want to show Anna Paulina. She's getting Anna Paulina Luna. She's on the trail. And look, I do think that there's people like Anna Paulina Luna, and there's people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and Nancy Mace, and trying to think who the men are that follow this crazy shit on that side. Boy, they really use the women. I think they use the women to go after the craziest shit. I think they genuinely believe that like Epstein was going to bring down the government. None of them are bright, and so I don't think that's off. But like, what's interesting is to watch these people enter Congress and then just be completely shut down. Anna Paulina Luna is reversing course now. I'm like, oh well, we'll see. Pam Bondi's on it. We trust Pam Bondi. But she said on February 11th and 19th, GOP oversight sent a letter to the Justice Department asking for status on releasing the Epstein files as well as JFK, etc. Whose Justice Department? Trump's Justice Department. DOJ has not responded. Reaching out on X because we can't seem to get a response from Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi, what is the status of the documents? These documents were ordered declassified by POTUS. You think is this what you guys think is happening? That Pam Bondi and the Justice Department are defying Donald Trump's orders? You don't think it's possible that maybe Donald Trump put the public order out there and then said, hey, slow walk it. Hey, get my name out of here. If my name's in there, I didn't do it. And these guys, and they're such loyalists. He'll be like, look, you guys know me. You know I didn't do this. You know I had nothing to do with this. Just make sure my name's taken out of it. They'll be like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we're in it. It's for the cause. We trust you. We know there's no evidence that you did any of this. So yeah, we'll take your name. You don't think that's likely? You don't think that that's possible? That the reason they're slow walking it is to take out their friends? Who maybe they believe their friends had nothing to do with it. That fine, if that's your excuse. But they are not going to release unredacted files. They are not going to release files with Donald Trump's name in them. They're just not. And that's what they're and these Anna Paulina Luna, she will fall right back in line. She will drop this. She won't keep saying this. She's not going to go on a crusade. Not if it comes from the top and they say, hey, knock that shit off. Francesca Fiorentini, who I love so much, talk about celebrity crushes. She was on top of this. This was before the election. This was last summer, I think. She was on with Bill Maher.
Ask me about Epstein. Let's talk about Epstein. I'll give a damn about Epstein. Apparently, they shared girlfriends. Michael Wolff said there's naked photos of Trump with underage girls, and apparently there was a stain on Trump's pants. Okay, can we just, was that in Epstein's vault? Can you get back to the question? Do you think that was in Epstein's vault when the Trump?
Yeah. Hey, Tex. Yeah, Epstein is alleged to be Mossad. So is Tulsi. Make that connection. Make the connection. If you're going to make the Mossad connection, make the Mossad connection to other Republicans, please. Thank you.
Trump's FBI raided Epstein's
If Kamala loses,
home.
Why would she lose?
What was in the vault?
Otherwise, you won't get a chance.
I'm not going to. You're interrupting me all the
time.
time.
I don't want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein. Sorry.
By the way, then they get into some personal shit. He talks about Epstein all the time. Every time, like he's talked about Epstein for years. He doesn't like it because it's attacking Trump. Now, Pierce is a lying sack of shit, and he pretends he's not just like a in the bag for Trump conservative, which he absolutely is. Watching the amount of pain he has trying to like have a lukewarm opposition to Trump when it comes to things in Ukraine has been fun to watch. But like he's wholly owned. He knows who his audience is. They don't give a shit about talking about Epstein. They give a shit about talking about Epstein when it comes to Trump, just like all Republicans.